So I just wanted to get on real quick and just share about tithing. And I've been a tither for many years now, and I love to tithe. I've learnt the hard way and the easy way that tithing is a form of us worshipping the Lord, but it's also a form of us trusting in Him and trusting that He'll provide, and just allowing Him to be the one to lead the way. I also believe in my heart that it prevents us from getting into that space of loving money and talking about the scripture that would say the love of money is the root of all evil. So I believe that there's wisdom in tithing that we can't even really comprehend ourselves, but that we should just be faithful. And I've had many testimonies of what the Lord's done in the past when I tithe and when I trust Him with my money, when I trust Him with my life and my children, and when I see tithing as a form of worship unto Him. And I've also been through seasons, and one of those seasons have just been recently for me, and it's when you get fearful and you go through struggle and you forget to trust in the Lord. And so for a while I've been through that seasons, a season like that. Things had gotten hard for me financially, and just walking into a new season of being a single mom and going through a separation and walking towards a divorce, and just carrying a lot that I used to share, that burden, things like that. And anyway, so I had gone through a season, and I'm a tither usually every week. I rejoice in tithing. I love giving offerings, and just seeing how the Lord can not only use that offering to increase His kingdom, but also how it affects my own heart of giving and trusting in the Lord. And I love to be a giver. I think we should all endeavor to desire to be a giver and to be a blessing to others. And sometimes it's hard with the state of our heart and the hardness that can be in our heart. It's easier just to hold on to it. And anyway, so of late, the struggle for me has been caught up in this fear. I'll get money in my account. I don't get paid a lot. I was just last year getting paid a lot of money. I was mining, and that's my background, is mining. And there's no physical possible way that I could get that type of money doing any other job here, locally anyway. But I was away from my kids 7 days out of the fortnight, and I knew that that wasn't right, especially as a single mum. Every once in a while, when I left, there'd be a struggle with childcare, so that wasn't working either. But of course, there's that temptation there. I did that for quite some time last year until I realized it was just time to give up. Things happened, and the Lord made a way that I was back at home, but I was struggling, really struggling, especially going from a massive income to just about nothing. So then it seems that the doors that He opened were really only part-time doors, and the money was little, and I had a peace in my heart, but also it was hard to go from that much money down to barely anything. And I think over time I started to build up this fear. So I would pay my bills, and I'd realize, wow, I just feel like I don't have enough money to pay my tithe. And I don't actually believe that in my spirit. I believe that when you pay your tithe, the Lord will provide. He sees that you've given. He's promised that He will bless, and He'll make sure that we are provided for. And He's done that for me many a times in the past, even when we're going through seasons of collecting $2 coins in the couch just to get milk and bread. But He promises us in His word that He will never leave the righteous forsaken or his seed begging for bread. He will always provide for His own, and I believe that. And so going through a season of having that fear and that doubt creep in, it becomes like this disease that just wraps around your heart. And I wanted to give, and it was my, I guess even a part of my routine when I pay my bills. That's then usually the number one. But it had gone so far down the list because I was so worried that I stopped paying tithes altogether for a season. And the funny thing is, my son got a job And the first thing I wanted to do was teach him about tithe. And of course, imagine the hypocrisy that I felt. My son, with his new job, and then teaching him that he must tithe, and then him even getting excited about tithing, and then, then wanting to give an offering to church. So he's set aside his dedicated $5 each week as an offering separate to his tithe, and feeling this conviction, but also this crippling fear every time money would come into my account. Well, I got to pay this, and I got to have enough for food and fuel, and I just can't pay my tithe this week. And it would seem that as of recent, the Lord has been placing these messages around me, both natural messages from my pastor and from ministers I listen to, but also just this stirring in my spirit, this conviction that I must pay my tithe. And I haven't been. And but I know that it's there. And I actually was praying to the Lord on my way home yesterday. Lord, I really need to be out of the season of struggle. And I just asked him to, I guess, strengthen me in my faith to just trust him. And anyway, so money came in this morning, and again, I'm tempted to get caught up in all that fear and worry, and I pay my rent and I pay my this bill and that bill, and then it comes to my tithe, and I just think, no, I need to pay my full tithe. It doesn't matter how much I'm left over with. And I pay my tithe, and immediately I'm discouraged. I'm thankful that I've paid my tithe. I feel good about doing the right thing. My spirit feels at peace, but my flesh is annoyed and frustrated because I really wanted to make some really lovely new meals this week, which would be extra money that I got to pay on groceries, and groceries are just ridiculous right now, as you know. And I was just disappointed. There was just things I wanted to do, and I'm like, oh, okay, Lord, I paid my tithe. And so then I get this email, and it's about this book that I paid for 6 months ago, and they want to return the money to me. So I send my bank details away, and they're going to return me $30 of a book that I paid for 6 months ago. I thought, wow, okay, well, clearly you're just making a way for that provision, and $30 doesn't really do too much, but I was definitely grateful, and I just thought, how cool, like a book from 6 months ago. And, it kind of built up my spirit a little bit, but I'm still moping around a little bit because I still don't get to do what I wanted to do this week. Anyway, and then I get this other amount come into my account, and I guess that's where I wanted to do this video, because immediately I started crying, and it was that $350 just appeared in my account, and immediately I thought, okay, well, something's wrong, and I'll have to return that money. What is this? And I looked at it, and I realized that, and I remembered an email I got a while ago that said that I might have been in credit, and I thought it was, like $70 or something, but I guess I had been paying this amount, and I didn't need to pay it anymore. So the return amount that I had overpaid was $350, and I just immediately started crying. And it's not really about the $350. Yes, it's going to get me exactly what I want, and that feels really great. It feels like a treat, like a present. But it's actually just that confirmation that he's a God that we can trust and we can rest in, and that will provide for us. And we read these scriptures in the Bible, and one that I was focusing on last week that's really been blessing me is that he said that the banner over us is love, that he has love for us. And it's like that's the main thing that we hear when we come to the Lord, is that he loves us. And it's like these moments, after months of not paying my tithe and probably needing that encouragement and that reminder that he will provide, I pay my tithe, and it's like he acknowledges that I've been faithful. I've not been faithful, but he acknowledges that I've listened, and I've rested in him this week, and he's made sure that I'm provided for. I've got money before, and it's been bigger amounts of money, but this is more about the reminder that we can trust him, and we can rest in him, and we can find a safe place in him. And I'm glad I've got this recorded, because these things happen all the time. And it's so funny how quickly we forget. It was just a couple of months, not even a month ago, I started a new workout business local to me, and I don't know if I can call it a business yet. I guess it's a business, but I'm doing donations only while I study through my personal training course. And so I'm not getting much money. It's just, come and bring a donation. And my mum topped me up $1,000, and I wanted it to, just kind of put a bit of money into my business, get some new shirts and some other things, some equipment. And she gave me that money, and she helps me once in a while, and sometimes I feel like a burden on her, but bless, mamas are good, aren't they? Anyway, so she gave me that money, and I just thought, Lord, I just want that money to be returned to her. Lord, please allow that $1,000 to come back to her. And I was going shopping that day, and I was looking at my account, and I seen that I had been sending this $30 away, and I knew about it, but I had forgotten about it. And I remembered it was actually from an old gas bill from the last place I lived in. And I thought, I better cancel that, and I better call up just to see if I'd be in credit by now. And so I called, and there was exactly $1,000 that I was in credit to give back to my mum. Like, yes, it's the big things that he does for us that bless us and bring comfort to us, but sometimes it's the little things too that add up to knowing that if you are blessed enough to worship the Lord of this universe and to know him, we can rest and trust in his comforting fatherly hand, where he'll make sure that we're covered and we're provided for and we're protected. I'm just so grateful today.